What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Midwest Gaming Classic 2019. It is a great time to be alive. Welcome to the festival, guys.
Yes,
this is Hair of the Dogcast. We've had a chance to roam the floor preliminarily.
Things have been awesome. We got in here last night to do some setting up. We caught up with Terry, our good friend Terry.
Oh yes, the Nintendo PlayStation.
Boy Terry. There's some cool peoples here. It'd be fun to get some of them on here.
It would be nice.
We have a few things kind of lined up. We have a few guests.
We got to play some games. Is there any one game on the arcade floor or the pinball floor that really stood out to you guys?
We were unveiled last night, the Willy Wonka pinball. There's a bunch over there to play. I think it might be one of the first places that
I think
their hands on
one.
That was must have been the unveiling.
It looks beautiful. It's very fun, but it kind of kicked my ass.
Yeah, it's like pinball machines. They just gotta speak to you or they don't.
Yeah,
it's very frustrating because I want Game of Thrones pinball and
they literally
have a good
speak to you,
relationship, and we never have had a moment like any. No chemistry there. My favorite, it's pretty much just been the pinball machine so far, but I played one called Swords of Fury, which is it's got like that 80s, 70s rock aesthetic.
That just sounds
real responsive.
Airbrushed. Right.
I really enjoyed that one. That was my favorite so far. That, and I played Dialed In this morning. I
decided I gotta play that.
Should I have gotten ready for the event today and brought food and slept well? Yeah. But at 8 o'clock, no one else is here, and they let the vendors in, so I just played pinball when no one else was here for like a half an hour.
So Brad, this is your first MGC experience. So we are officially almost 3 hours in.
As a vendor.
Dude, it's much more fun on the vendor side. Everyone should just do it.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you. But,
we had our buddy Brian, fan of the podcast, show up last night.
Yeah.
He brought some beer. That was cool.
We literally got closed out of the vendor hall last night. It was closing time at a bar.
Please leave, everybody.
We're just sitting around the table.
Drinking beer.
So looking forward, I know we did kind of discuss some things that some maybe panels or discussions that we would like to go see.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I know the one that you really want to go to.
What would that be, Tom?
Who are you going to call?
Ernie Hudson.
Ernie Hudson.
We're going to call out to the ghost of Harold Ramis to communicate with Ernie Hudson to come on the podcast.
I don't know. I haven't done a seance since college.
Dude. Absolutely.
I'm excited to see the Retronauts and the Watch Out for Fireballs boys.
Right.
We met the head of the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. He's cool.
I'm also excited for Retronauts, excited for Ernie Hudson, and Eugene Jarvis, or actually Howard Phillips.
I gotta play some Nintendo with that guy tonight. I'm gonna make it happen.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I'm gonna make him sign my bow tie. Well, guys, I think it's time to hit the floor.
We've been wandering around. We've been talking to some people, making friends.
Yeah.
We've got lined up a couple of very cool episodes.
More importantly, Josh has seen a personal hero.
Oh, that was pretty swell. Our man Ernie Hudson, met him, let him look at my arm, my beautiful tattoo.
It was awesome.
And he's like, "Oh my gosh, that is so cute." Yeah. But so that was great. I told him, "Come on, stop by the podcast you want. It's right by the Ecto 1." And he goes, "Wait, there's an Ecto 1?"
He had no idea.
He didn't even know there was an Ecto 1.
He was a very charming fella. I was sitting right next to you. I could feel the love just exuding from the room. But he was a very, I thought he was going to kind of phone it in a little bit, who are these gamer people? But he was really sincere and made no bones about maybe some of the infractions he's incurred with the Ghostbuster franchise over the years. And
did he mention anything about the next one? I know they've teased another Ghostbusters. Yes.
He did talk about that he's waiting for a call, basically.
Made friends with some other podcasts that are here. Talked to the EXP podcast. They are out of Milwaukee here. Cool dudes. And then we met
you're cool.
Games Gone out of Minneapolis, a memories-based gaming podcast. And then saw Gary and Cole from Watch Out for Fireballs. Good seeing those guys again.
Yeah.
And talked to Jeremy Parrish from Retronauts for a little bit. I'm going to say hi to Bob Mackey, I'm sure, later, too.
Yeah.
And we talked to Walter Day earlier, our good friend Walter.
We talked to our buddy Mr. Tim Kitzrow, the voice of NBA Jam.
I was in the pizza line, and Tim came up, and he's like, $6 for pizza? I'm like, boom shakalaka. And he's like, that's too much boom shakalaka for this guy.
Gentlemen, should we get back at it?
We are joined by two absolute fucking legends right now.
Legends!
We got this man right here, Master Daniel Pesina.
This guy.
Played Johnny
How's it
Cage
going?
and every ninja ever.
Hair of the dog.
He
And
almost
brother to
punched me.
Raiden as well.
Yes.
Yes. And we have Tony Marquez, Kung Lao, badass extraordinaire.
So, how was the game originally pitched to you? Were you guys just sitting around?
So what happened was John and myself, Carlos, Tony, Hosung, we wanted to do a fighting movie for John's college project, but that never happened. So years later, he's like, remember how we always wanted to do a fighting movie? I have a chance to do a fighting game, so I want to pitch this game to the company I work for, which was Midway. So we snuck into Midway, snuck in because John was like, I don't want anybody to know my idea of a fighting game.
Yeah.
And then we did a video, and we videotaped some movements, and we presented that to Midway. So we started working on this game, and later on, about 40 or 50 hours into it, we let Ed take a look at what we're doing. And he was kind of forced into doing this game.
So how long after the first game came out did you take for you guys to realize this is something big, this is something special? Was it almost immediate that you guys kind of knew something was happening?
Well, the first time John tested the game, he delivered it to a local Chicago arcade.
Sure.
And it was Super Bowl Sunday night.
Okay.
So he's like, oh, we're going to test this game, but I don't expect it to be too good. So 1 or 2 hours later, the owner of the arcade said, hey, something is wrong with the game. So John comes there, he looks at the game, he's like, oh, the coin box is filled. And John Tobias looks around, there's nobody in the arcade.
Yes.
But for some reason, the coin box is filled. John did that 2 more times. He called me up and he's like, holy shit, this game, in one night, we already maxed out the quarters 3 times. This is gonna explode.
When you were shooting the motion capture stuff, each character, was that about 3 days, 4 days of shooting, something like that, a lot more?
Johnny Cage almost took up the whole freaking 9 months.
9 months?
Yeah, because we did not know what we were doing. John Tobias, the creator of Mortal Kombat, and I were in the film studio with nobody else but him and I for at least 40 hours creating a path to Mortal Kombat.
Really?
Yeah, we shot Johnny Cage for 5 days. Even before we shot, we allowed Ed Boon to come into the studio.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have a move sheet that you were trying to
We didn't even have that. John Tobias was like, okay, punch to the face. I was like, what kind of punch? She's like, anything you would think of. We spent 3 hours punching like this, doing every kung fu technique that I could think of.
Yeah.
It's John Tobias, my friend. So I am doing falls on concrete. And at the end of the day, one day, I was like, John, I'm falling on concrete. I don't think anybody else who get in is going to be falling on concrete. He's like, yeah, for those guys, don't worry. I have a pad we can put in front of them so they don't have to fall on concrete. And I kind of looked at him. He looked at me. He's like, winked and pointed at me. Because he just laughed at me, making me fall on concrete because we're friends.
And that's when you invented the fatality. And Tony, were you around then too, or were you waiting for your call and they said we need Kung Lao in full form?
No, so at this point, we're all training. I end up dropping a weight on my toe, broke my foot.
Is that why you weren't in the first one?
Yeah.
Oh no.
But you got in there.
Yeah,
Right.
But
That'd be my
eventually
reaction,
they
too,
needed
you
another.
lucky fucker.
Now we're talking about Mortal Kombat 2. We're talking about Liu Kang, played by Ho Sung Pak, and he's a pretty big guy. And relative to everybody else, John Tobias doesn't think that, Tone is, slimmer than the rest of these cats. I don't know if he's going to be what we're looking for. I tell Danny, tell John Tobias to get to the gym in 4 weeks. Give me 4 weeks. Let's see what happens here, right? I changed my training. He walked in like, how are we not working with the cat already?
Yeah, when we were first pitching the game to Midway, I told John that I would not do the game if the Lin Kuei, which would later, at one point where Scorpion and Sub-Zero originally were brothers, Lin Kuei brothers.
Yeah.
And Scorpion murdered the father to seize hold of the Lin Kuei tribe, and Sub-Zero being the more powerful one. I hate to tell the fans, but Sub-Zero is the more powerful
You just pissed
guy.
off so many people right now. Come on.
So he killed Scorpion, but
No.
Scorpion was so
I
mad that he
refuse to
could
believe
not
it.
control the Lin Kuei family that he came back later. That is the original idea. So when we were pitching the game, I told John Tobias that I would not do the game if he did not include the Lin Kuei.
So do you guys still follow the Mortal Kombat series then? Or are you still waiting for the new games?
A little bit. My brother Carlos, who's Raiden, has worked on every game except for the first one, and he was also included on the pitch, the midway. So he's the
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's the only one who has been pre-midway to be on most of the game.
I'm kind of shocked that when he said like Ed Boon was kind of lukewarm on the whole concept, and now like Ed Boon is like the face of Mortal Kombat.
The company needs a figurehead. It's not the originator. So
Right.
Ed Boon is not the originator. He is the co-creator, and that's just the way.
Yeah.
Anybody who works for a living knows that. If you do something good, your boss gets credit for it.
Yeah.
And that's
That's why I don't ever do anything good at my job.
Yeah, that's just the way it rolls. And
that.
you know what? No
Yes.
offense to Ed. He's wrote it good, and he's got a good life and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But he's not the originator. He's a co-creator, which is very different than what we are.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
What are some of your favorite stories? Got any stories that really stand out to you?
On the first Mortal Monday, we are in London doing Mortal Monday because Acclaim is based in London.
Sure.
So they hired us to go out to London. I'm posing for pictures, and then this guy sticks out because he's wearing a hat that is half different, and he's wearing like a long pant and a short pant, and he's wearing like everything doesn't match. Or he put this together, his outfit. So I'm watching him go around, and he sneaks around so I can't see him. I'm posing for pictures. All of a sudden, I feel somebody from behind me reaching up and grabbing my balls.
Oh, yeah.
And I turn around,
Good
and
morning.
this guy starts running away. And before I can do anything, Sonya Blade, Liz Malecki, grabs me by the shoulders and starts laughing. And she goes, "Dude, that guy just felt you up."
And that's when you realize the drop to the knee, drop to your splits and do the nut punch.
Yeah.
You knew.
Well, true story. One time, John Tobias, myself, Tony, Rich Savizio, Carlos, we all hung out when we were younger, before Mortal Kombat. We went to a bar, and this guy, he must have been like 6'4".
A real
He was
Goro.
a friggin' really
real
big
Goro.
guy. Because he's drunk, he bumped into John Tobias, and he bumped into another guy, and I was like, "You don't bump into my friend." Because of his size, the bouncers in there did not approach him, but I was like, "You motherfucker." He turned towards me, he threw a punch, I ducked under the punch, and I fucking did an uppercut.
No way.
And fucking
Yes,
Through the roof.
Through the pit.
asked John Tobias, because he always tells this story. And after I hit him, I looked at him, I was going to punch him again, and I realized, this guy's eyes are in back of his head, so I'm not going to hit him again. All of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, it looked like this, and I see somebody flying through in the air. And it's Kano, Rich Davizio, jumping up in the air and I could see him going to do a flying knee to this guy's head. But then I was like, oh no, and Rich hit this guy in the chin with a flying knee. And I was like, oh, fuck, we're going all to jail for murder. Yeah. But the bouncers saw him hit the ground and bounce a little bit and dragged him out. And the bouncers brought me drinks, the bar brought us drinks, and we're all cool.
Flawless victory.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
True story.
So
I have seen so many Mortal Kombat shirts today. I've seen your faces all over everything.
Yeah.
You guys are truly fucking legends. And I know it's risky for me to say this, knowing you two and your appetites, but you are welcome to free beer for the rest of your lives whenever you come see us.
You're the best.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We have another legend.
Another one. But this one's special.
He is a certified doctor. But well, that's badass in itself. Congratulations on that. But we also have Shang Tsung here.
Thank you.
Philip, hey man. Thanks for coming on the Dogcast.
You're welcome.
We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
What a crazy change of pace going from medical school and then you're acting in this huge phenomenon.
Right.
Yeah.
What was the first day on set like? Was it odd being in front of doing all the motion capture stuff? Just went for it?
First and only day, more like 4 hours, was even though I had not done that before, it was natural. Like,
Was it? Yeah.
yeah, it just took martial arts, and it took knowing what to do in front of a camera, which, I knew what it would take to do it.
So have you become more of a gamer after being involved in the industry, or are you still just pretty dedicated man to your...
Did you drop out of medical school?
No, definitely didn't do that.
All right, thank you.
Unfortunately, fans...
Here we go.
Yet, to this day, I've not been able to complete my own fatalities. and
You're not alone, buddy.
And even 5-6-year-old have beaten me while using my own character.
Why is a 5-year-old
How
playing Mortal
humiliating.
Kombat?
That's true.
What are you doing, Doc?
Yeah.
When you went in to have this quick day of shooting, did you have any idea how long-reaching that would be, that it would become a part of your life?
I had a sense, because Mortal Kombat 1 was so popular,
big,
I was ready for my life to change. Yeah.
Do you still have the outfit?
The original outfit, Midway made billions of dollars off of us, but they were so tight about their budget. The original outfit was my black martial arts pants, my shoes, my kung fu shoes. Then they provided us with like very flimsy, cheap, cuffs and garter and the suspenders, which kept falling off while I was filming.
What?
Yes. Oh, and I can't grow much facial hair, so John Tobias had to draw it on me.
Oh, that was drawn?
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, well, let's give it up for Dr. Philip Hahn. Thanks for coming on the
Thank you so
much.
the
Thank
Dogcast,
you.
man.
Thank you. It was my
Really
pleasure.
appreciate
Our
it.
souls are yours.
Oh, yeah.
All day. Good morning, everybody. This is day 2. Can you believe we made it to day 2?
Yeah, we made a lot of good friends yesterday.
So many good friends.
Thankfully,
Too many good friends.
We didn't have the passes to get into the VIG, but Johnny Cage went right up to the security.
Always.
Danny Pesina.
Thanks, Danny. Danny boy. Yeah, we really appreciate it.
He got us in. Kung Lao did some super sick karaoke.
It was another one.
Yeah, and I do want to say that we have a resident dance master on the podcast. I had no idea. I had no idea. Brad.
The video, it would be fine if it was lost to the sands of time.
Oh my God. Yeah, I drank tequila last night, and I don't drink tequila, so. Yeah, so outside of the VIG party, what else did you guys do?
I fell in love with a Pokemon, but she had a boyfriend.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That happens sometimes.
Usually the
Right.
same. It's every time almost.
Aren't there? There's like 900 of them.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So
maybe we'll go find a
another one.
Gengar or something.
Yeah. I don't know what that is, but
It's going to be a chill
Sometimes
Sunday.
games-
Otherwise, I just want to talk to all the cool, beautiful people today. Does it end at 5 o'clock today? Is that right?
Yeah.
we have the absolute pleasure of being graced by the presence of 2 legends of the gaming industry, Mr. Frank Cifaldi.
Come on, Cifaldi.
Nicely done.
Frank Cifaldi and Howard Phillips. So, Howard, you had a panel here yesterday.
Yeah, it was fun. Frank and I just talked about games and old times and Nintendo days. I was there from 81 to 91. We talked a bunch about that. And then we also talked about Frank's effort at video game history preservation.
Right.
I mean, we all love games.
Yes, we do.
We live, breathe, eat, sleep games. And the last thing we want to have happen is for all the great stuff to get forgotten or lost to history.
Exactly.
And so Frank is heads up a foundation that's charter is to preserve everything possible.
Yeah, and so for us, I think this show was basically like a fireside chat with Howard Phillips, right? So, I introduced him and I moderated the panel of one, helping Howard to sort of unearth some memories of Nintendo so that stuff is not only heard but documented,
Sure.
you know?
Yeah, no, that's excellent because video games are a digital media and they can't be lost to time.
No, we've lost a lot of stuff already. And I kind of think of us less as we're going to find and capture everything. I think of us more as like stopping the bleeding a little bit.
Right. Do you have like an idea of like the percentage of things that have been lost to time versus things that have been.
Well, I mean,
that you would know of,
like define things, right? If we're talking about the actual source code and stuff that the developers wrote, then it's 99% is probably gone. Like, and if we're talking about actual like retail product, I'm not as worried about that. I mean, look around you. The idea of there being a collector's market for this kind of thing, I think, has ensured that the retail product is safe. So we're not really focusing on that. What we're focusing on is capturing, the more ephemeral things surrounding these retail games. The memories, right, is one part of it, but it's also the actual, the building blocks of the games. When I say source code, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah.
I know our listeners are savvy folk, but my mom does listen.
Yeah.
And she might need the nickel definition of the source code.
I mean, basically, when you're building a game, you are building it in a pretty human-readable way-ish, if you're a programmer. And you're doing things like writing in little comments about what each of these things you've done does, and like, you might have source art in there that is maybe even higher resolution than what you see in the game, things like that, or things that, like features in the game might be in the source code that you never see in the game because they cut out the function because they didn't want to, they cut out that feature. And so if you have access to the source code, it's like being in the Matrix. It's like you can see everything about how the game works, and you can extrapolate things. And to me, that's the equivalent of like when an author donates their drafts and their papers and letters and things to a library. And that's how history books are written. Is from people having access to collections like that. So we're rapidly trying to figure out how to do that for video games, especially the older ones, because a lot of that source is, if it's not lost, it's like dying on a disk or hard drive somewhere.
Sure. So was there like maybe a flashpoint event that made you want to pursue this quest of preservation?
Well, being a lifetime pack rat, the flashpoint was being born and never letting go of anything that was ever put in my hand or possession. But I've committed to Frank that, number one, I'm going to target the Video Game History Foundation for my archives to make sure that all the data that I have there goes to the foundation for them archiving and redistributing, make available to others. Separate from that, I've also got close to 40 years of industry contracts who people I worked with, developers I worked with. So I pledged to Frank that I'm going to also work to help facilitate relationships between all of the individuals in the industry and the production side and Frank, so that he can have access potentially to their garages and their closets, because there's going to be other pack rats out there besides me. And then the third thing is I want to help everybody be aware that this is going on.
So this task is so monumental, that you do kind of feel
one step at a time,
right?
Frank. One step at a time.
He's doing it right now. See, so like you're also just a very good brain to have in the brain trust.
It's good to have the game master telling people to get their stuff to you,
Absolutely.
Yeah. He's telling me the secret code.
Start with level 1.
So Howard, back in the day,
yes,
when you were applying for your first job with Nintendo, did you apply for that warehouse position because you knew it was for a game company, or were you just needing to pay for some food?
The short story is a friend of mine, Don James, and I went to school together, went to University of Washington, and I didn't apply. He just said to me one day after he'd started working for Nintendo, like for a month, he said, "Hey, do you want to help us out? Because I need help." And I said, "Oh, okay, sure." And he said, "Come on in, and we need help in the warehouse." And then from literally that morning onward, he just like went off and did all of his stuff, and I was responsible for all the warehouse and all the shipping and the test route for the games, and that meant, of course, that I had to play all the games.
It's a rough life. I can only imagine the joy of having the warehouse to yourself and just lines of arcade games.
Right.
People tend to imagine this corporate company with lots of people running around, etc. It was just a big open warehouse, 60,000 square foot, big echoey, boomy area like this kind of, but then filled with arcade games that we brought in and were shipping out. And then a bunch of them opened up so we could look at some of the new ones like Sky Skipper and Popeye and things like that. And we had a bunch of old radar scopes hanging around. But the only people that were there were Mr. Arakawa, Ron Judy, and Al Stone. Ron Judy and Al Stone are always out selling the games to people. John Pedersen was there as a contemporary. He just did service work on the board, so all he did was sit there and solder all day and things like that. Then there was a young woman at the front desk who answered the phones, and pretty much that was it. I mean, Don James was off figuring out how to get cabinets built so that we could just ship monitors and parts over from Japan and do final assembly there, so we didn't have to ship all the air from Japan. When we were doing all the Donkey Kongs, we did final assembly in the U.S., but we made the cabinets locally there. So Don was focused on that, so it was really just me standing there with a clipboard in the middle of this big, huge warehouse. And, you know, I'd play the games, and Arakawa or Ron Judy or Al Stone come out and say, what do you think? And I'd say, this Sky Skipper is pretty, like, trippy, LSD, hallucinogenic. Not a very good game, but I kind of wonder what they're eating over there in Nintendo Japan.
Would your opinion just be blunt? If something wasn't great, would it just be like, this sucks? Or
Yeah, no, it was always very casual.
Okay,
because I think what was valued was not some esoteric assessment of game elements, etc. It was really just I was served as a player's voice for them, and I was out re-energizing that voice all the time, working on the test route where I'd go out and set up our games, and then I'd measure the coin drop from the games, how many coins they had in a day or in a week, that sort of thing. But I'd also look at the other games that were out there and talk to the kids who were playing them and find out, you know, what's cool about this game, or does this suck, or what do you think? So I learned to kind of get really close to what the gamer zeitgeist was for good gameplay.
Howard, just on that topic, like, do you think now, in retrospect, now that you've had a lot of years to reflect on that time, do you think your personal biases might have affected the releases that Nintendo came out with? Do you think it's...
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, every player has slightly different tastes in their games, and I'm more of an action gamer.
Right.
And I'm also more of a driver and operator, if you will. So I have a personal love of twitchy games and really fast action games, and I also have a personal love of vehicle driving games, flights and cars and things like that. And I'm sure that influenced to some degree, you know, how I was responding to different games out there.
I know you guys are very busy. Do you have any special messages you want to send to the gamers about life, about preservation?
About life?
About life.
Go outside.
Yes. Wear bow ties, always.
I think a lot of people, when they hear the message that we're talking about with preserving games, they want to know how to help, and we haven't quite figured that out yet. So I think what I want to say is, be patient. We're still figuring this out. You know, like, eventually I think we'll figure out how to best utilize, you know, the army of passionate gamers who want to save this stuff, and we'll get there eventually.
Right. And you, Howard?
Keep playing.
Keep playing. I will do that.
We will do that.
We're solidifying. And boy, do we have a treat for you with another fabulous guest. We have Mr. Gerald Levinson.
Oh, I bet you say that to all the ladies. I'm still reeling a little bit from Kung Lao Karaoke, which may have been the single coolest thing that I've ever experienced at a game show.
Oh, we have video to prove that this exists.
Yes, it actually happened, and it was amazing. So yeah, just kind of enjoying the show, trying to help promote the Portland Retro Gaming Expo.
Yeah, so that's why you're here, right? You are the showrunner for Portland Retro Gaming Expo?
I'm on the board of directors, so I'm on that board, so I'm just one of many. Each of us usually goes out to 1 or 2 shows a year to kind of help promote, you know. And so for the last couple of years, I've been coming here to the Midwest Gaming Classic, and I think I'm going to make this a regular thing. I'll try to come out every year.
Absolutely.
And it's so much better without the snowstorm, you know.
So you found a few things here that you're going to be bringing back to the Portland one, hopefully, right?
Yes. One of the things that we are going to be doing this year is we're going to be expanding our show by 30,000 square feet, and we are looking for cool content to expand, you know,
to fill that space.
Yeah, correct. Right. Yes. Yep. Yeah. And so one of the things that we can kind of break on your show right now is
exclusive.
It's an exclusive. We are going to be having the Neo Geo World Tour at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's going to be a lot of fun, and that's going to be a first for us, and we're really happy to support them and just bring more tournaments to the show this year. In general, we're going to have more tournaments this year.
Okay.
So
I guess just for the people at home, can you give like a brief overview of the Portland Retro Gaming Expo?
Yeah, so
PRGE.
Yeah, the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. Yeah, sure. So in general, as it is today, it probably our number one attraction, based on our surveys, is our vendor hall, right? So we have a massive vendor hall. Depending on the year, I think it's about 150 plus vendors, you know. We've got a giant arcade space. I believe also right around somewhere between 120 to 150 arcade machines all set to free play. We have
That's my jam.
Yes, yeah. It's amazing. It's so much fun. And we have a console free play room. We're gonna have a museum. We've got just all kinds of stuff like that. It's just an amazing event, you know.
Right. So, in a way, it's very similar. Or it sounds like it's similar to the MGC.
It's similar, yeah. And MGC is also just an amazing show. One of the bigger differences is we're a little bit more dialed in, at least at this point, just on the retro gaming. We like things to be related to video games, but if we feel like it's something that would add value that people would like, if we feel like our guests would come in and be stoked to see it, sure, totally could do our show.
It's the one con that I've always wanted to go to.
Yeah, well, you should. I don't know what's stopping you. Well, I'm a little bit biased, and I think it's the best gaming show ever, And I mean, to me, at this point, I've been associated with it. It's either 11 or 12 years. I'm a little bit squirrely on the exact date, but it's a family reunion. It's like you get to see all your friends, we have like just attendees that have been coming so often that they're feels like family. It's the best thing ever.
Exactly. Yeah, I've heard that too. Like all the podcasts or people that I've talked to that go to Portland, they do bring up the whole family aspect, and
it's a lot of fun. And Portland is in general just such a great city to visit.
Absolutely.
I went to 28 breweries when I was out there for 3 days.
Nice. And Voodoo Donuts, right?
I had Voodoo Donuts, yes. And then there was some Asian food that's like the one food you're supposed to...
The Noodle House? No. I like the Noodle House, yeah.
This is another one. It's more touristy. It was dope, though. I forget. I was at 28 breweries. I don't remember what I ate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It all just kind of blurs together.
Yep.
Yeah, so apart from the Kung Lao karaoke, what have been some of your highlights here, besides meeting us?
This show is great, man. I really like this show. There's so much stuff that is done differently here that I appreciate, like the DeLorean, having a DeLorean replica here that's so cool looking. The
professional wrestlers.
All the vehicles.
It's right there.
Ted DiBiase. Dude, Ted DiBiase was here.
Yeah.
That's the coolest thing.
The ultimate retro gamer.
Yes. The celebrities that are here, Tad, I don't remember his last name, but the gentleman Tad Stones, who created Darkwing Duck and Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
Badass.
I was just geeking out. It's like the coolest, it's just like a lot of the best parts of my childhood, like all in one room, The Steel Battalion room, how cool is that?
Yeah.
Feels like we need a Steel Battalion room at PRGE. We actually just announced that tickets went on sale, so please go ahead and buy tickets as soon as you can.
Gerald, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, man. Thanks, guys.
His name is Justin. Justin, welcome to the Dogcast.
What's happening, Tom? So myself and my partner Justin, we started a company last year called Eon, where our main goal is to get all retro consoles working on modern TVs and look and play better than they ever have before. So today we're here showcasing our newest product. It's called the GCHD Mark II. It's a plug-and-play adapter for the GameCube. So basically you throw this guy into your system and your games look awesome.
It is phenomenal. I picked up my first one about a month ago. Yeah, we were having a Smash Brothers Melee tournament at the brewery I work at, which is how we wound up talking.
Yeah.
And I was looking for an excuse to get one of these for a while. I'm like, well, I have to now. And
tell me, did it change your life?
It changed my life because the GameCube, one of my favorite systems, it is notoriously difficult to find those component cables to get any sort of high definition.
Yeah, man. You try to find a
GameCube? Oh my God, they're so expensive.
Yeah, they're like $200-300 if you can even find them.
Right.
Tell us, how did you guys go about getting this item together?
Yeah, so my partner and I, we followed the the video game modding scene for a while, and we were seeing some of the stuff that you could do with the GameCube and some other consoles, like making their visual quality just absolutely amazing, right?
Yep.
So when we're like, damn, dude, like we want this stuff, but there's such a barrier, you know what I mean? You've got to crack your console open, solder stuff, and all this. It was too much. We're like, this is crazy, right? So then when we started looking into it, we found a way to achieve that same visual quality, but through something that you just plug in.
Sure.
So we were like, okay, can we make this? I'm not into manufacturing. We've never done this before. But then we're like, we started making some connections. We're working with our third partner. His name's Alan. He's working with factories and stuff. And we started to materialize the idea. And we're like, we can make this a thing. Let's try it. So in 2018, January, we launched the first one, the GCHD Mark I. At the time, it was just called the GCHD.
Was this a crowdfunded product or?
No. So we funded it all on our own. When we saw that what it was capable of, we thought about do we want to do a Kickstarter or something like that? But we felt that in so many ways, Kickstarter is kind of have a little bit of a bad rap, you know? Like some of them like get funded and then nothing happens with it, or they delay stuff.
We were Mighty Number 9.
Yeah, exactly,
or
right?
Like,
so
the item promise doesn't turn out to be the actual item that
exactly. And so we thought, you know what? Let's take the risk on ourselves. Let's just make the thing not cheap. It's all professionally manufactured. But we're like, let's just take this on and just put out a really like kick-ass product, and if people like it, then they're going to receive it well, and you know, hopefully everything works out. And everything worked out pretty awesome.
No kidding, man. Yeah, like the buzz that I see generated since this was released. You know, like I think I was talking to you earlier, like seeing some of like the YouTube reviews, just you know, users using it.
Yeah.
Have just been all just off the map, like positive.
Yeah, man. Know? We've been really lucky to get guys like, you know, Metal Jesus Rocks and RGT 85.
Metal Jesus was how I found out about it.
Yeah.
And the moment I saw it, I mean, if you have any interest in GameCube gaming, you just kind of need one of these.
Yeah.
And I wasn't aware, because most people haven't played any HD GameCube games. Some have widescreen. Monkey Ball 2 and widescreen. Thank you, please, more.
Yeah. We've got a demo right now of F-Zero GX, one of my favorite games on the system. That's all running 16:9.
Now I need to buy it. Thank you.
Got it set up with surround sound right now. It's awesome. It's a really, really cool situation. Right. And I remember once we got the first prototype, we're sitting down with my partner Justin, and we're just like, dude, we want to try everything. And I've got a pretty like extensive GameCube collection, so we spent hours just sitting down, having a few beers, just popping every game off the shelf, being like, how does this look? How does this look? How does this look?
That's the first thing I did as soon as I got it hooked up.
The best.
I started grabbing all of them.
Resident Evil 4.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorites, seriously.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, that was super fun. It was a really interesting process, and you know, having been like kind of new to manufacturing this way, it was really awesome to sort of see the whole process materialize, and then have something like in your hand where you're like, man, like we made this. You know what I mean? It's a cool feeling.
You're the master of the GameCube, but I saw you bought a Nintendo 64 the other day. Does that mean anything?
So I mean, I don't know. I will say that we are working on some new products that we're very excited about. We have one coming out in the next few months. We can't say what it is yet, but I don't. It is for another.
Guess?
I mean, you could.
R-Zone, Gamecom.
You got it.
Some of the big ones.
Yes, Gamecom.
Specifically for the 32X. You know what I mean? That's what we're looking for. No, but it is for another much beloved Nintendo console. Very observant of you with the
Virtual Boy. We're looking at you.
Yeah. So I would just say, you know, keep an eye on our Twitter and stuff. You know, we've got some exciting things coming out that we're super excited to share with the world. You know.
Thank you very much, Justin.
For sure. Thank you for having me.
You've been watching the Fan and Dogcast.
We got a whirlwind. Two more excellent guests here.
Yes.
We're here at the Dogcast, and I am actually doing the hair of the dog right now. This is not Gatorade.
Confirmed. Can smell it from here.
That's right. Yeah. We won't ask questions.
Tell the folks who you are.
So I'm Jeffrey Wittenhagen. I'm a published author. I have 12 books published on retro gaming. Also have my own podcast that we've been running for 5 years. So anyways, I'm the guy that had the Virtual Boy book go viral. Like, I did a 1 week Kickstarter for April Fool's Day. Like, yeah, and everyone's like, how can you get 100 pages on the Virtual Boy? And I tell them, well, now it's 150 pages. And besides for the 20 or so games on the Virtual Boy, there's also like homebrew, aftermarket, unreleased games that all have physical releases.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And they're really rare. So it's like, from a collector's perspective, there's a lot to talk about with the Virtual Boy.
There's probably now more homebrew games than there were actual released games.
Like, I think 3 times. 3 times crazy.
So, Jeffrey, I picked up this book from you earlier today, and I had a good look at it, and it's a Nintendo compendium book, and I'm flipping through it, and I see Final Fantasy VII. Wait a sec. And there's just an awesome selection of homebrew games.
Yeah.
You talk to the homebrewers, they have like biographies in there.
That was my 3rd book on the Nintendo.
Yeah.
First I did the complete NES, then I went NES Oddities, which is all the weird and wild homebrew stuff, all that stuff.
Sure.
And then this is a compendium of personal stories. And I dug into the hacks and stuff that wouldn't have fit the purview of the other books, plus interviews with people making new games on Nintendo.
Yeah.
Beautiful book.
Like crazy.
And you're going to be working on one with our other friend here.
With this guy. So introduce yourself.
Yep, I'm JP from JP Switch Mania. I'm 24/7 Nintendo Switch. I'm addicted. I'm a big collector. I have over 550 physical games. There's not even that many different ones, but collectors variants, second printings, misprintings, imports, whatnot. Yeah. I collect it. And then, I run a website. I interview people in the industry. We do reviews on upcoming games, new games, old games for the Switch. Our YouTube channel that also does unboxing of collector's editions because nobody wants to ever open them, so I do that. And then on
I like watching them though.
Exactly, they're fun. And then on Twitter, I just do daily postings to let everybody know what's coming out, what the deals are, and just engage with the Switch community. So it's been a lot of fun, and I've been doing that since last August.
And so, what are the thoughts going into making this book here?
Yeah, I'm very excited.
The book idea was like, so last year for April Fool's, it always starts off with a joke. I said, I'm going to do a complete Switch book, and everyone's like, it's not complete. That was the joke. And then everybody wanted the thing, and it got crazy. And so, obviously, just hearing him talk, he's the go-to guy when it comes to collecting for the Switch.
That's true.
So my idea was,
I'm honest. I'm honest.
Of course. Yeah. I'm a bad. Yeah. But I was like, if we're gonna do a Switch collector book, I want to do it more akin to like these other more graphical books. So instead of doing a collector's book where I have multiple games on one page, it's like, let's do 2 to 8 pages for every Switch game.
Okay, wow.
So like Breath of the Wild has 8 pages.
I'm sure they're going to be beautifully done.
Oh yeah.
The art you get in these books are fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like ridiculous. So we're going to cover the volume 1 will be the first year. The second year, as you all have seen, has exploded. So I doubt I can go under 500 pages with all of 2018. So volume 2 will be wherever it gets to.
Okay.
And we'll work on it. We got a lot of ideas for cool stretch goals, like a full arcade that the custom arcade guys will make. They can put the Switch in, but like a legit arcade cabinet.
Oh, really?
You can put the Joy-Cons.
You put the Joy-Cons in the actual console. Like cool stuff. Like little treasure chests that you can put the games in, so you don't have to keep in the cases. You actually put it in the treasure chest.
Okay, that's really awesome.
Cool stuff like that. That just something that I would want. So that's why I make it. Everything I make is something I would want.
Right. Yeah.
Jonathan, how much of your Switch collection have you gotten through? Have you beaten all?
Oh no, not at all.
Have you opened all of them?
Yeah,
no.
I don't keep them sealed to sell them one day. I just keep them sealed because I'm not going to open them until I play them again. But with 2 kids and a full-time job, and then JP Switch Mania now a book, I kind of just open what I'm playing at the time.
Yeah.
So I try and stick to just 2 games at a time. So 99.9999% of my collection is still sealed.
Okay.
But it looks nice. Looks nice.
I'm trying to get with him to make sure that we start like an online playcast on his YouTube channel where we play a game for the book live while people watch.
Yeah.
You're gonna make me open the games now.
Yeah.
That'd be a good way to get people pumped. Maybe if they have the right comment, it might work its way in somehow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, and I absolutely. That's another thing that I've with the books is that people can write in the book. So you're gonna notice when you flip through the book that I didn't write everything. Some of them are backers on Kickstarter
and stuff. Yeah.
And some of them are buddies I know from YouTube, and then they're like, hey, I'll give you a shout out, like whatever you do.
That's
cool.
I saw John Hancock. I saw Riggs in there.
Yeah, I've roomed with Riggs. That's some fun stuff, right? I'm about to tell some crazy stories.
I bet.
We've acquired some crazy stories just the past 2 days here.
Yeah, we were at the after party. That was round 2 of that. No, it was round 1 of the after party. That was when there was shirtless Kung Lao karaoke.
Yeah, I was there.
There was shirtless Dogcast karaoke.
Don't you remember?
Yeah.
There was definitely shirtless Dogcast karaoke.
The video is terrifying. So when are we thinking the book's going to be coming out?
So the idea is to launch the Kickstarter this summer.
Okay.
As for coming out, it all depends on production and all of that, but I don't like to take more than a couple months, and I don't like, besides for that April Fool's joke that was the Virtual Boy book, I like to have it completely written beforehand, so that way it's just the contributor parts I can add to it to expand it, and then done. That's how it makes sense.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on. Thanks for the work you guys are doing. I appreciate it. And it's not only Hair the Dogcast, it is also
Gaming Off the Grid.
Thank you guys for being on the podcast. So, out of Iowa, this is your first time being at MGC?
It is. First year.
So what do you think?
It's huge. It's, yesterday I was just overwhelmed.
Yeah, there's a lot to take in, but we met the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase,
You did.
Eric Bischoff, Ernie Hudson.
So how long you guys been on the old YouTube?
Not even a year yet.
Yeah,
right?
we're.
Right on.
I think May is our 1-year anniversary, so we're kind of new to it.
Coming up, yeah.
It's been a grind, but a lot of fun.
Happy almost anniversary.
Yeah,
thank you.
And we got a pretty
early.
healthy community following, so we're really proud of that. So, but we sit down at kind of couch co-op gaming. So it's called Gaming Off the Grid because we play everything offline with friends and we drink beer. Kind of bringing gaming back to that. to
the good age.
We think the modern stuff, like people are losing that personal aspect, which I think of like growing up, all my best memories with friends were like playing NBA Jam and shit, and hanging
just
out.
staying up late. And
Absolutely.
Local area network Halo party.
Yeah, there you go.
LAN parties.
That shit was dope.
Yeah. Trying to bring those back. Yeah.
How do you guys pick the games that you play for a particular episode?
I mean, this first year has just been a lot of like we've got some of our friends that are involved with the channel and stuff, and we're kind of just picking games that we remember playing as kids that we really liked. Like your No Mercies, your Streets of Rage, that type
Turtles
of stuff.
arcade game.
Yes, all that kind of stuff. At some point we're probably going to open it up to the audience, like, hey, what do you want to see us play? But we're still reliving so many memories. And the cool thing about Robert and I, we're from 2 different generations, so there's almost a 10-year age gap in our gaming lives, and lives in general.
Yep.
So I'm exposing him to that 8-bit, 16-bit era stuff that I grew up with, but he's dragging me like all these awesome games on that Nintendo Wii, PS3, 360 era when I kind of started fading out of gaming. He's like,
that was when I was like thriving in gaming.
Right. Yeah. So, what games are on the horizon? I guess. Do you plan episodes out past a certain point, or is it just one by one?
We're loosely scripted well into 2020 of like things we want to do.
Scheduling and episode wise.
Oh, nice.
So we tried doing a lot of things around like
major events.
Yeah. So we've got a hockey episode coming up. We'll have an NBA Finals episode coming up.
We just had
a
WrestleMania episode for WrestleMania, which was so much fun. And
so that stuff's all kind of penciled in.
And then we're still new to it, but one of my favorite things we've ever done is October. We do like a Halloween series, and like the entire month is like dedicated, and we like kind of modify our name. Like last year we did Tales from the Grid, which was Tales from the Crypt mixed with gaming.
Right on.
It was so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Are you guys involved in the beer industry? You drink beer while you're playing, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, so in every episode we do a beer review. So every episode's a different beer, and then we talk about the beer at the end and like kind of review it, say what we think about it.
Yeah, you guys need to bring your setup here next year.
Yes.
And we'd love to come on and do some 4-player, 5-player.
That'd be killer.
We could do Smash. We could all play together.
We could do like an 8-player Smash or something. That'd be so
great.
sweet.
We could bring a couch.
Yes.
An actual couch.
That would be the way to do it.
Yes, so then we're all tied on a couch. I'd be down.
Cool.
It would look so cool.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Just a natty ass couch. Just like, man, just the old days. For as far as episodes go for the channel, what kind of cadence do you come out? Is it bi-weekly or weekly?
So we upload regular episode format on Mondays and Thursdays at 9 a.m.
Okay.
And then we live stream on Sunday nights, and it's called our Sunday Nightcap series. And we invite our viewers to finish off the week with a nightcap, a beverage of their choice. And we live stream for about an hour and just talk.
We started the Nightcap about 2 months ago, and it's actually so sweet to be able to like hang out with the community that follows you and like talk to them, and then we ask them what they're drinking, and we learn about new things, and it's been a lot of fun.
All right.
We just try basically creating an atmosphere of like when people see it, they're like, man, I remember hanging out like that with my friends playing Smash Brothers or GoldenEye or whatever, and so we try recreating that on the channel.
So highlights so far of the convention for you guys. Have you seen anything that stood out?
Definitely meeting $1 Million Man.
Yeah, $1 Million Man. We actually we got him to cut us a promo for our YouTube channel.
Oh, no way!
So he like got up
$1
and
million promo.
Yeah, and he like did like his wrestling.
Be on TV?
It was so cool.
He did,
he did his laugh.
Yeah. It's like, welcome to Gaming Off the Grid, and everybody has a prize for the $1 Million Man.
I'm still giddy about it. It was so cool.
I saw him last night, and I was like, you look like such a nice old man.
It was good.
Yeah, it just seemed like the character not being like, when he's not in character, I'm like, wow. Man, I watched a TED Talk with Eric Bischoff the other day getting ready for this.
Oh, nice.
I was like, wow, you still got it, man.
You did a TED Talk?
He did a TED Talk, and the first 10 minutes is him. First 10 minutes is him talking shit about Naperville, where the was like, this is the worst city. This is the worst convention I've ever been to. He's like, and that's a heel, everyone. That's what we do.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
like,
awesome.
He's comparing like wrestling to the modern news media. I'm like, you're too right.
You're right. You're dead on the nail.
That is awesome. So yeah, it's been cool. Met a bunch of other YouTubers from the Midwest here too. A lot of them that are from the state of Wisconsin, and went out to dinner with them last night. Just a huge networking opportunity.
Oh, awesome! Yeah.
So, it's just cool to be around like-minded people that are grinding at something they love, and so that was passionate. It was neat. Yeah.
To be able to talk shop,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's tough to do that sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
At least face to face.
Yeah.
Gaming Off the Grid on YouTube.
Yes.
Check it out. Midwest Gaming Classic 2019. We're your buddies here on the Dogcast, and this is our final podcast of the night. And I can't think of anyone better to have on the podcast than our friend, Mr. Walter Day.
Welcome
back,
Walter.
to the Dogcast.
I'm honored to be here. I feel well dogged and I feel well cast.
Oh my gosh. All right.
How's your pretzel, Walter? My pretzel, actually I don't name it Walter, I call it Steve.
How's the convention been treating you so far?
Well, it's very interesting, a very interesting convention. First of all, it's kind of funny because there's actually a large number of people who've come through here, but it wasn't an overwhelming convention. Like I remember being at the Denver Comic-Con and just everything was congested. All the aisles were congested because there were so many people there. Wow. But even though there's a lot of people here, and who knows how many, what is it, 10,000, 12,000? I don't know, something like that.
No idea.
It still has been a comfortable convention.
Good.
Yeah. And everybody's been friendly.
Sure. Walter, you were saying that we're going to have some sort of big party coming up for you, right?
Okay, so here's what's going on.
Yes, give us a skinny.
I turn 70 years old soon. May 14th, meaning 1 month from today, is my 70th birthday. So I'm having like 4 parties in a row. I'm having a party in my hometown of Fairfield, Iowa, where I'm actually having an awards ceremony and giving awards to people who have been part of the community, trading card awards, the part of my community, Fairfield, Iowa. Because, Fairfield, Iowa is really interesting because out of the 10,000 people that are there, about 4,000 of them practice transcendental meditation. And you've heard me talk about that in the different movies that I'm in. Absolutely. Transcendental meditation is a miracle that I hope everybody gets around to trying, because when you do it, it changes the way your brain's able to think. And it's so easy to do. You only do it 20 minutes in the morning before you start your day. Yep. Then you do it 20 minutes later in the day after you come back from work or school or something. And it refreshes you, and you have a whole other day ahead of you in the evening because you're completely awake and refreshed again. So that's my first party on May 14th. The next party is May 16th. I go to the Nebula Awards, and I give a framed trading card award to William Gibson himself. Oh. You know who that is?
Yeah, I do.
He created the expression cyberspace like 50 years ago. Yep. Famous book Neuromancer and stuff like that.
You're giving it to William Gibson?
I'm going to give it to him personally on the stage at the Nebula Awards in Los Angeles. That's on Thursday the 16th, okay? And then finally on Saturday, May 18th, it's going to be my big grand finale where there's 120 brand new trading cards unveiled and in those beautiful gold frames, just like you saw yesterday. Yeah. It'll be a big party, and it's going to be at John Weeks' the legendary Museum of Pinball, which is in Banning, California. So everybody's invited, and it's going to be free cake and free ice cream and free trading cards, the souvenirs. And
we'll bring the beer.
I don't think there's going to be beer soon. Oh no, they're going to sell beer.
We'll bring some.
Okay.
Is beer compatible with TM?
No. I mean, the thing is you don't drink beer, then sit down and meditate. You meditate first. So, but no, actually, you don't have to stop. You don't have to stop drinking beer for TM to work. But you'd meditate, and then when you drink beer afterwards, you'd actually enjoy your beard more. Your beer more. I said your beard more. Your beer more.
I can't enjoy my beard more, but I can enjoy the beer more.
Yeah, exactly.
So I will be doing.
Yeah.
Wait, a pretzel break.
And Walter Day eats a pretzel. This is
never had
going to go viral.
You've never had a pretzel break before on your show? Unbelievable.
No, plenty of beer breaks.
It's like a no-brainer.
Do you have any special messages you want to send out to the people right now?
Yes, buy low, sell high. You guys are going to be on a trading card. The dog of the haircast.
Hey,
that's what I was gonna say.
At least get the name right.
I'd be happy if it said that too. That'd be fine.
Actually,
we're happy to be on a card.
It'll become a valuable error card that's highly sought after by people who collect stamps and coins.
Trading, yeah.
So no, but anyway, the reason you guys are going on a trading card, not only because I love what you do, because it's actually legitimate and genuine. What you do is important. In the old days, when I was younger, the only people... See, you guys do oral history. That's what it is. You guys are doing oral history, which is an incredibly valid part of the historical process that you'll find at universities and colleges and stuff. So that's what I needed to tell you guys, and that's what you who are listening out there need to hear, that you have to be appreciating the incredible thing these guys. If there's a way to contribute a donation through PayPal or something, you should be doing it. Send us your beer.
Send us
hey
all
man,
your beer,
good to
all
see
your
you.
love, all your subscribers.
Thank you, Walter.
Because that's real important to realize. Because
Sweet
history's
words.
been my background for my whole life.
Sure.
In 1963, when Kennedy was assassinated, I was in the 9th grade, and someone, as part of the whole we were all coming into the classroom with big headline newspapers: Kennedy assassinated, Kennedy shot. And so someone came in with an 1864 Boston Journal with Civil War headlines.
Oh, wow.
And in 1863, Harper's Weekly with Civil War headlines.
Sure.
And I fell in love with old newspapers. And I started accumulating old newspapers dating back to the 1790s.
Oh, wow.
And I was using them because I was going to be a history teacher, and I was going to use old newspapers as the actual medium for doing original research and original studies, having my students study the actual accounts, historical accounts, that's directly reported in the newspapers themselves at that time. Because they are a very different story than the digested stuff that you will read later on in textbooks.
Yeah.
And so that's what I was doing. But I somehow got sidetracked by my love for video games.
Yes, you did.
I became a video game whatever I am. But you see that I've turned you see that I've turned it on its ear and turned it into a video game history thing. Absolutely. And that's what the trading cards are. The trading cards became my modern day version of studying history through the old newspapers, but using the trading cards to commemorate the history, to document the culture, and to congratulate the community, and turn it into something that the video game trading cards commemorate. And it's almost like paleontologists and archaeologists will find a prehistoric bug in a big thing of amber. What I'm doing,
they'll find our beer cans.
I'm capturing you guys in little trading cards of amber that capture your story for all time.
Oh no,
because I've now designed over 3,500 trading cards, and over 2,000 of them are actually in print, circulated around the world.
That is amazing.
And you guys will be part of that whole process. And somewhere down the line,
that's awesome.
Somewhere down the line, it's going to mean a lot to future generations, and they will study the whole trading card collection, because essentially it's a tapestry of the history of our times. And as I probably said to you last year, when you look at a tapestry that has a big beautiful picture sewn on it, that tapestry is made up of thousands and thousands of individually colored threads that, woven together, they make a picture. And that's what the trading cards do. They create a picture of the culture of our times, capturing it for all time. And I believe that future generations are going to really, really study and enjoy these cards, because they're capturing in those little cards stories that otherwise would be overlooked and lost to history.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here at the Dogcast. Walter, this has been Midwest Gaming Classic 2019. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will check you out next time. Check us out on Twitter at Hot Dogcast. Email us.
Facebook.
We'd love to hear your stuff.
Subscribe. Get it.
And there's Terry Diebold.
What's up, Terry?
The man.
Diebold.
So,
you do Diebold, not Diebold? Okay.
Another successful year, gentlemen.
We love you.
Hail.